right, fellas. So for this video, we're going to go over all of the basically home screen options, in particular at the beginning of the season. So the first thing is to choose your draft class. So I already downloaded the 2024 draft class. So I'm just going to go ahead and import the local file. And that's the 2024 NFL draft. And that is our draft class. So you do have the option, since we're already familiar, and I think a lot of us have already seen what these ratings are. It's not really like it's as much of a secret here. But if you do want to, you can go in and you can edit the players. This is something that it's up to you if you want to cheat and see what players are out there. I mean, hey, franchise is for everybody. You can do whatever you want to. There's no judgment on anything. You can keep it 100% fair and still game the system. You can cheat and still make it challenging for yourself, or any combination of those. It doesn't matter. This is franchise. You're in complete control. Do what you want. My suggestion is don't feel guilty for anything that you do or want to do. It's a game. It's supposed to be fun, so have fun with it. So anyway, this is the draft class that's been set up. What you can do if you want to edit players, you can just do a computer-generated one. Then you can go in and edit the players to your heart's content. And you just go in and you can check. I'm pretty sure that Caleb Williams is going to be either a superstar or superstar X Factor. Pretty darn sure. So he's a superstar. So, which is fine. You know, he's our #1 pick regardless. So we're gonna be shooting for him. He's got a slinger too. I would probably move him to traditional 4 if I do draft him. But basically, when you're done, you know, editing a player, you can change their face. Everybody knows how to edit players. So you just go down to edit appearance. You can change their face, all their stuff or whatever. And then when you're done, you just save changes. In this case, I'm going to discard changes. And that's basically it for your draft class. And then when you're done with that, you just save and exit. Okay? So that's basically what you can do with draft classes. You can download them from Madden Share. So in terms of like region breakdown and all this stuff, for scouts, I just let the computer do this. I just don't get that into scouting. It's so obvious. I just look at the combine numbers. You can kind of tell what players are good, what players aren't. Some people really get into this, and you can get into this pretty deeply and have some pretty educated guesses as to, those sort of needles in the haystack, later on in the draft. And there always are some. And Madden has done a better job with that this year with the generated draft classes. You can get, generational players. Players that just come along, come along once every decade. You can get some really good finds in the 5th round. So I'm not going to go into the scouting. Basically, you pick your scouts. You can assign them just like that. And that's really all you have to do. So I just leave it pretty much default. Region breakdown, you can view region prospects, set focus scouting, as the season goes on, manage your scouts. You can do all that stuff here. West, North, Northeast, Central, Southeast. So all that stuff is here. I don't mess with this personally. I've been doing Madden franchise with this format, this setup for years, so I pretty much know. You can just tell after you've played this a while. You can just tell for the most part who the players you want are. In terms of weekly strategy, okay, there are some things that you can do here. You can change your strategies from defending inside run to defending outside run, defending pass. Again, I don't generally mess with this stuff too much. If I was going to defend something, I would probably defend the inside run. So I leave it on default. The computer never seems to be able to run on the inside, for me. So you can go to offensive game plan. You can do the same thing here too. You can choose your offensive game plan focus. For me, throwing it short is fine. Throwing it medium is fine. I'm fine with either one. So we'll just go ahead and put throw it medium, which is generally where most of the team, my throws go. And then on your team profile here, you'll have the opportunity with coaches as you upgrade them to get more focused players. But you're going to want to pick your players here. That I don't like the way the players that they've chosen. Obviously, Christian Gonzalez, we want him. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. So, we change the focus player. We just press square. I'm probably going to use Justin Fields as one of the focus players because he's going to be who we are going to trade to get the number 1 pick. I'm not going to have a punter as one of my focus players. So, James Cook, we're going to use him. I'm not going to use Keon White. So what do we have at receiver? There's really nothing. We could put Tyquan there if we were going to start him. And he wouldn't be a bad start with 96 speed. If we had a rookie tight end or something like that. Our offensive line, we don't have any really young guys. Kwity Paye, he's 2 years into it. We could use him. We might. Same with Barmore. We could do him too. Devin White even. We could use him. Deion Jones is a little bit old. So we've got some options here. Justin Blackman, Duggar, Simmons. For me, we've got some play here. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Kwity Paye, just to boost him up. Whether we decide to keep him or not, we're going to go ahead and keep Trenton Simpson. And then you can go in here and say with Justin Fields, you can go in and you can do the pass skeleton or the pass skeleton out man, target passing, option attack, whatever it is that you want to do to get a little bit of extra XP for him. I only do it on the running backs because it's the easiest challenge, and I don't like going through 6 guys. Once we get the extra focus players, I don't really like doing that. So I'll just go ahead and once I pick my target players, I'll just click start training. Maybe I'm wasting a little bit of XP, but so what? To me. I mean, we could do James Cook here, but I'm just going to go ahead and skip it for this week. So we'll just start training. And it will sim our training for us. And now we're back at the home screen. So in terms of upgrade players, if you've never done this before, it's very simple. You just go in and it tells you all the players that have enough, XP for skill points. And, we have Greg Newsome that we can upgrade. There are a few tricks. If you want speed, generally speaking, if you want a speed upgrade, slot is your best chance. I haven't noticed in Madden 21, slot was big time. The one you wanted to use here, we've got a pretty balanced player. I'm a zone guy, so I'm going to go for zone, and I've gotten speed upgrades with zone, so I'm going to go with zone. And we got +2, so we've got 87 and 85 now for man and zone. So this guy's a stud for us. So left tackle, it depends. I will almost always go for pass protection. So we're going to go ahead and go for pass protection. Power is always a solid one. I don't have a lot of luck with the agile thing. It kind of gives you a little bit better for run and pass block finesse. But I generally will go with pass protector until I get my guys because that's the most important thing to me. So we got pass block finesse and pass block power. So, and it's going to be the same thing for Collins. With him, his pass block is it's just hideous. So we're going to go ahead and build up his pass blocking. Luckily, he's a guard. We can kind of overcome that. And I'm still not that convinced that offensive linemen make that big of a difference without abilities. So, hey, we got a pass block there. We're building him up. We may keep him. We may trade him next season. He's young enough, 30. We got at least a year or two, maybe 3 or 4 left with him where we might be able to trade him. So, but we'll probably be dumping him by the end of the season anyway. And my guess is that'll be his last upgrade. So in terms of managing staff, so we go to franchise staff. This is an important thing. I already know that Kevin McGovern does not have what we want. Okay, so I'm looking for speed boosts. Notice we got juke moves, agility, right? Boosting pass block, quarterback guru. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. It's not offensive coordinator, it's a defensive coordinator. Sammy Rios. Okay, we already know that he doesn't have, he does speed for defensive ends. I don't really care much about the speed for defensive ends, as you go down these talent trees. He might even have, yes. Oh, we do have speed for cornerbacks with him. Okay, so I'm wrong. So we can get, we can boost our speed for our cornerbacks ×3 with this guy. So we just need to do the full blitz, and then we're going to go down this side of the tree to get speed for cornerbacks. So we don't have to hire another defensive coordinator. If we did, if he didn't have that speed boost, at least for this season, we would fire Sammy Rios and we would hire another defensive coordinator. We would view his talent tree and make sure that we could get speed for cornerbacks or safeties, depending on what you like. I prefer speed on the cornerbacks, okay? So for him, we can view his talent tree and we can go full blitz, spend those points, and then we can boost speed for the cornerbacks. Boom, we got +1 speed for cornerbacks. So next round's going to cost us 36 more. So hey, but we got an extra 1 speed for our cornerbacks. So staff management, you're just going to view the talent trees, and the ones that you want to upgrade, you will upgrade. And the better you play, the more points that you will get, the more XP gains you will get to be able to progress through these talent trees here. So, and there are basically 4 of them: head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and player personnel. Okay, it's very straightforward. It looks like a lot. I think it's a lot of fluff other than the boosting of the speeds. The sort of player boosts. I really don't care as long as I get my players boosted. I'm not a big fan of the boosting of stats personally by coaches. So, but that's just me. So in managed staff, we have team schemes. Okay. Now what we should do is we really should, first thing what we're going to need to do here is we're going to need to go to manage team, not manage team, manage roster. And we're going to want to go to our depth chart. Okay. So if you press triangle, it will auto reorder your depth chart. Okay. So, we have a backup quarterback, and then if you don't have, they'll either put a kicker or punter, a third one, they'll put a kicker or punter in. We have injuries off. I think we turned injuries off, so we don't have to really worry about that too much. Typically speaking, Madden does a pretty good job at this. I would probably want the guy with better carrying at number 2, so we're probably going to put Ty Johnson at our number 2 halfback position. For fullback, I always just use tight ends, right? So unless there's a really good fullback out there, but tight ends just seem to block better. Next season, we will get a better tight end because I do use I-form close and I-form slot a lot. So we'll get a better tight end. But basically, they just kind of fill it in there, and that's fine with me so far. For receivers, this is essentially, they generally do a pretty good job with the depth chart of this. We probably should sign an extra receiver, but we don't have injuries on, I don't believe. So this is just fine. For me, my number 2 receiver tends to get most of my targets. We're going to keep Gabe at number 1, but during a game, you'll see when you start seeing game highlights, sometimes I'll go ahead and put my starting receiver at the number 2 position because he gets better statistics, or I might put my third receiver at the number 2 position to get him some statistical boosts. Tight end, pretty straightforward. I will usually, I'll just generally leave this as default. So I'll usually have 3 tight ends because I'll do a lot of 3 tight ends and I form close. But for this season, I'm not really worried about that. So Dawson Knox and whoever is behind it. Now for the offensive line, I will always go left tackle, the next left tackle, and then I will go for the backup right tackle. And then I'll go over to right tackle, have right tackle, the backup right tackle, and then I'll go to the backup left tackle. That way, I'm assured that all of my backup linemen are at least getting some XP potentially, right? So backup left guard and backup left guard. Over here at the right guard, backup right guard, backup left guard. Well, that's interesting. So, in this case, with Cole Strange, he's so good compared to the other one. I'll probably switch those and put Cole Strange as my backup left and right guard. And then at center, I'll leave Cole Strange here as the backup, as the third stringer. I will do the same thing for defensive end, generally speaking. I'll go for the backup defensive end of the opposite one. We'll do the same over here. And defensive tackle, they generally do a pretty good job. So in this case, because White is a rookie and we might want to develop him, I'm going to put him as the backup for both defensive ends because this other guy is a scrub. Normally, I would boost these guys a little bit better, but for this video, it doesn't really matter. I'll do the same thing with left outside linebacker. I'll put my backup right outside linebacker as the third string. I'll come over at right outside linebacker, do the same thing with left outside linebacker. And in middle linebacker, they generally do a pretty good job of filling this in for you. And then at cornerback, they generally do a pretty good job here. Every once in a while, they'll slide a free safety in here or something that I don't want. But generally speaking, they do a pretty good job. For me, I run 3 cornerbacks, so Christian Gonzalez is going to develop well. Otherwise, I would probably put Newsome as my slot corner so that I can develop Christian Gonzalez a little bit better. But he'll develop just fine as a slot corner. Free safety, I always go with my backup strong safety as the last guy. Okay, just so he can get any XP if he does come in a simmed game or whatever. And same thing, I always carry 3 strong safeties because I always use a strong safety as my user, at least in franchise. The rest is all very self-explanatory. Kick returner, we may go sign a receiver with high kick return because Ty Johnson's fine. We'll just leave him for the sake of this video. Punt returner, I don't like this. So I will go ahead and use, I'm going to go ahead and throw Johnson in as my punt returner. Johnson has 88 carrying. But generally speaking, I like a guy with high kick return, like a backup, like a 4-string wide receiver, or even a 3rd-string running back. So Ty Johnson's our second, or he could be our 3rd-string running back. So he's fine. But 82 is a little bit low for my liking, but it'll work out just fine. Kickoff specialist, it's real simple. Just use the guy with the highest power. I don't know why they did it this way. They just went with overall, but I used to go with the guy with highest power. So Behringer has 96 kicking power. Long snapper, just go for the highest rated guy on this one. 3rd down running back, pretty obvious. The guy with the best catching. I like to have my best running back out there regardless of their catching. So in this case, we got James Cook. Power halfback, no. we're using James Cook. And trust me, James Cook is going to be much higher rated than this as the season goes on. So James Cook is our power running back. Slot wide receiver, they have it just correct. It's Rashad Bateman. Rushing left end, they did a pretty good job. And we're just going to do two on this one. Kwity Paye with Keon White backing up, and then Josh Sweat, and we're going to have Keon White backing him up, right? Defensive tackle, pretty obvious. Sub linebacker. So we know who our sub middle linebacker is going to be, right? And then we're going to go ahead and put Devin White as our other one. He's 91 speed. You know, I don't really run dollar in franchise very often, so I'm going to be running dime, so Devin White's not going to see the field, but Devin White will get the statistical boosts because when we sim games, Devin White will be in there, okay? So even in passing downs, he's going to be in there. So we want to build Devin White, right? So he's still fairly young. So that's kind of how we're going to do that. Slot corner, not Isaiah Simmons. It's definitely Christian Gonzalez. Darby's backing him up. And then our last cornerback, Sheffield. And then we don't really care about the practice squad. So that's it for the depth chart. And it is very important to set that depth chart. Don't forget to do that. Trust me on this one. So we go back to manage staff. We're going to go with team schemes. Okay. This makes a difference, you guys. This makes a difference with simmed games. And as you can see, we don't have the best percentages because we basically just took what we could get in terms of guys that we could acquire. By next season, we're going to see scheme fits that are in the 80, 90%. And by the end of the season, we're going to see, you know, much higher rated with this. But generally go with the highest one. This will affect your statistics. Vertical zone run is my favorite one. I feel like I get the best statistics out of that. I've done the West Coast zone run, and it seems to work fine. For defense, I knew it was going to like 3-4, but quarters 4-3, you know, that's a pretty good one because we have you know, we're heavy secondary. 46 defense. Generally speaking, the way I set my defenses up, the 46 is the best scheme fit, and sure enough, that's what it is. So we're going to keep that. Offensive playbook, I always go with the playbook that I use. These playbooks will make a difference. Okay, so you'll have to sort of experiment to figure out. But I'll go with the Jets and Kansas City because those are the playbooks I use. So I just generally go with this, and my statistics have been fine. But playbooks do make a difference. So just to warn you. So those are our schemes. Okay. Now, formation subs. This one can be important. Generally speaking, Madden actually does a pretty good job with this. On offense, I don't have any formation subs that I need to change. If you want to change, you just hit the L2 button, you go to iForm, and this is where, like with iForm close, you can just automatically sub a tight end in at halfback, right? But we already have a tight end in there, so it works out perfectly. But you just put in your subs. You just click the button, and then you scroll through right to left and sub in any guy you want, okay? I generally don't mess with the offensive subs unless there's a particular reason for it. I never play 3-4, so I leave it at default. On 4-3, I will play 4-3, even 6-1. We're going to see that, you know, Devin White, you know, Trenton Simpson, Deion Jones, those are the guys that we'll use. I will keep Devin White here in game. I will sub him out for Isaiah Simmons. Okay, but statistic-wise, I want to have a balance. So I'll keep him in here. that again, we're considering statistics here. So, but the rest of our all of our starters are exactly how they're supposed to be, and I'm promising you, it's the same with all these other formations under 4-3. So, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. So, on the defense here, I don't ever run big nickel. I just leave this default. Dime, I will always check it just to make sure that everything is set up properly. So we have Christian Gonzalez, Isaiah Simmons, and Ronald Darby. That's our fourth defensive back, which is the reason why we signed him. Sneed, Blackman, Duggar, and Newsom. Everything is fine there with Dime. It should be the same with Dollar. Simmons, White, Gonzalez, Darby. Yep, all looks good. I can promise you that all of these setups are just fine, but go through and make sure you have the players that you want. I don't want to waste a lot of time on this. I will play quarters, fairly frequently at the end of a half or at the end of a game. So, I'll make sure that I have this set up, but it all looks fine. I can look at the numbers and tell. So it looks fine to me. But just make sure that you have the players in the formations that you want. It helps statistically when you sim games, and then it helps you in game not have to make so many substitutions. Okay, so we've covered managed staff, auto subs. I don't mess with this. I just leave it default. It's obviously going to be for simmed games. I just let the computer handle this. That way, I get you can tweak this. You can have sort of I don't know, like a switch hitting backfield if you want. So, you can play around with this. I generally just leave it at default. But if you want to, you at least have that customizing ability. Okay. So in terms of roster, we've done everything. Injury report. I mean, these are all self-explanatory. Improved team. I don't ever do this. If I want to trade, I'll just trade for somebody. Resign players. Generally speaking, I just go when the players, throughout the season, you'll see they'll tell us when players are available for re-signing. But if you want to go ahead and hop in here and re-sign, you can do that. But you're going to have to wait till whatever week they're ready anyway. Team salaries. Again, we've already seen this screen. Adjusting lineup, I just do the depth chart. Adjusting lineup, it's just graphical. So managing your team, we are an owner, so we have to manage the team. Gillette Stadium is down to a 29. We can upgrade. Most of the time when I play franchise, I will just relocate. So in this case, instead of upgrading, you can rebuild the stadium. That's probably the easiest thing to do. So we're just going to keep it at default right now. We're not going to rebuild anything because we're going to make sure that we want every penny when we sign free agents. So we'll rebuild next year. And you can, and the neat thing this year, you can relocate anytime you want. You don't have to wait for a certain week. So that's really neat. Finances, you can go to team value and you can view what your team is worth. You can go to your finances and marketing and change that stuff up. You can see your fan happiness and team success. I don't mess with this too much. Sometimes I go into finances and up prices. Okay. So when you come in here, just to give you an example, you can do tickets, merchandise, concessions. You want to see, I've had a few where I wasn't generating enough revenue and just some price changes made a pretty drastic difference in my weekly revenue. But I will generally leave it at default. If you win, you're going to be successful and you're going to make money. I've never really had problems with the team not having money. But if you do struggle with that, that's how you can adjust that. So managing team is pretty simple. right? Pretty straightforward. Staff moves, that's just how you see all the staff moves. You can advance the week in sim. If you click this, you can sim the entire season. You can sim, to the playoffs, to the Super Bowl. You can sim to the draft next season. You can even sim a whole decade in advance. Okay. These are just notifications. So you can click on them and they're just letting you know, and you just acknowledge them and turn them off. That is it. That is it for the home screen. We have now set everything up. We've got our depth chart. We've got our formation subs. We've got our schemes locked in. You can view the news here. There's really not much. Yeah, again, Madden 2008, way better news system. This stuff is just, it's boring. So this is a useful section when you go to the league here. You can see the standings, the schedule, stats and award, and we'll stats and awards. We'll go through this as the season progresses. Okay, but this is more for current league stuff, and then options to change your user. You can mess with the user teams if you want. You can boost your morale. You can clear your cap penalties. You can even add money to your funds. You can toggle your team on autopilot. Sometimes I'll have 3, 4, 5 different teams that I'm running, and I'll toggle them on the other 4, 2, 3, or 4 on autopilot, right? So that's what you can do there. There's not a lot of customization here. I really think that they should beef this up. You should be able to, customize exactly how you want. But whatever, whatever it is, this is the user thing, So, and we're the commissioner at this point. So that is everything on the home screen to get us ready for week 1. So we had the first introductory video, which is a little bit tedious, but very helpful for new players. We had the second video, which is the most fun part of the franchise, is building your team up that very first season to hopefully be able to contend for a playoff spot or a Super Bowl. And then this third video here is just basically covering the home screen and all the things that you're going to need to set up every week. And we'll go over these things weekly, okay? So we've got everything we need to get our team up and running and to have fun with this season. And the first team we're going to face are the Eagles, and we're going to kick their tail. So I hope this video has been fun for you. And as always, have a great day.